Hey everyone, it's Zack Beck. Democrats just took control of the presidency, the House of Representatives, and now the United States Senate because they won two runoff elections in Georgia. Specifically, Raphael Warnock was the first African American elected to the Senate from the state of Georgia, which has the second largest African American population. Irrespective of your political opinions or what your preferences may be, that is a significant moment that we should all reflect on and acknowledge, and it's actually a good step forward in that respect. Secondarily, Jon Ossoff won his race as well, becoming the first Jewish American ever elected to the Senate from Georgia as well. Now, those things aside, what's important for us to be aware of is that this new change in the Senate now gives Democrats control of the entire government, where they now will be able to pass legislation that will impact you directly. So what I want to do in this video is break down in detail what the different legislative proposals are, how they will impact your finances, and what you should be doing right now in order to prepare for the future. So let's take our time, dive into the details, and jump into it right now. With the Democratic-controlled Senate and House as well as the presidency, we can expect another round of stimulus payments coming up very soon. And that is because at the end of last year, the Democratic House of Representatives passed the third stimulus check that would actually have increased the payment all the way up to $2,000. Now, that faced opposition in the Republican-controlled Senate, but now that has actually switched to Democrat, we're going to anticipate that another round of stimulus payments will come out that is going to be up to $2,000 per individuals who make an adjusted gross income of less than $75,000, as well as $2,000 for every child that individual has as well. So it's going to be a pretty significant increase and will impact millions of people directly. And this is going to be one of the first priorities we will see the Senate move forward on, and most likely President Biden is going to sign that into law because he's been advocating for it as well. The change in control of Senate is actually going to switch leadership in the Senate as well. It used to be that Mitch McConnell was the Senate Majority Leader. Now it's going to be Chuck Schumer, who's the senator from New York, who's going to be the Majority Leader of the Senate. So he has been advocating for another round of stimulus payments up to $2,000 as well. So it's very likely that this is going to pass, and I would anticipate being done within the first 100 days that Joe Biden is elected into office. An additional element of this change in leadership, moving from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party in the Senate, now that they control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, we should anticipate that the CARES Act provisions that were impacting millions of individuals should be extended, specifically when it comes to retirement accounts. The CARES Act enabled individuals to take up to $100,000 penalty-free out of either their 401K, their traditional IRA, or other retirement accounts. And that was something that many individuals took advantage of, and they had time up to 3 years to pay back that into their retirement accounts without facing a tax bill. But what we might see is with this new control in the Congress, we should actually see this extended, because that was that deadline passed back at the end of 2020, but we couldn't see this go through all the way to end of 2021, where individuals could still access funds that are in their retirement accounts. Now, once again, I would strongly caution, if you're going to touch any money out of your retirement account, that is a last resort. That is not something you're going to do just to make any other sort of financial gains. You want to make sure you're doing this as a last resort because you want to make sure your retirement is whole. And if you're continuing to keep money into the market, specifically through your 401k, your IRA, or other account, you're going to benefit from compound interest. You're going to benefit from all the gains that are happening in the market right now. So please only touch that money if you desperately need it, if you've already exhausted your emergency fund, and if for some reason, because you're either furloughed, you lost your job, you're in a terrible situation right now, it's requiring you to do so. So just be cautious if you're doing that. But one of the benefits of this new change in leadership is we should see that provision reenacted and actually extended later into 2021. As it relates to retirement accounts, we should anticipate some significant changes coming to IRAs as well as to 401ks. And that is because President-elect Biden, as well as many of the senators who are now going to be in control in Congress, are advocating on making some significant changes to required minimum distributions. And now the age that you have to take any sort of payment out of either your 401k or your IRA is the age of 72, but what they want to do is switch that to the age of 75. Furthermore, for individuals who have a balance of $100,000 or less, they want to waive many of the different fees and anything that's going to associate with taking money away from individuals who actually need to touch that. So that actually might make it a little bit less burdensome for someone who might not have a lot of money saved at the age of retirement. Furthermore, what they want to do is provide a provision so that allows employers to help repay student loan debt when they can do that through a 401k. So it's a tax-advantaged approach that also benefits their employees who might have student loan debt. So overall, we should see a broad retirement bill that comes together. I would anticipate this taking place within the first 2 years of Joe Biden's presidency, but this is going to be a pretty sweeping change, and I'm guaranteeing there's going to be other additional provisions that haven't even been discussed yet as well. Now, as it relates to student loans, President-elect Biden advocated on the campaign trail to cancel up to $10,000 in student loan debt for federal borrowers. This would impact millions of Americans who have a cumulative total of over $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. Now, I've made various videos specifically about student loan debt, and right now it looks as though we could actually anticipate having that $10,000 canceled because of this new control in the Senate. So this is something that's going to be a direct impact on millions of individuals, and I understand there's a varying degrees of opposition on this topic. Some people believe that it's your personal responsibility to pay back your bill and make sure that you're caring for your own debt yourself. Other people would advocate and say, well, at the age of 18, I did not know what I was getting into. I'm not here to take a side on either of those. I've made the videos and feel free to look at those to get more insight on that. But what I would say is that it looks like it's likely that $10,000 of student loan debt will get canceled as a result of this election that took place in Georgia. An additional element related to student loans would be continuing the suspension for payments of student loans as well as on interest payments for federal student loans. And this can be done through executive action. It does not require an act of Congress. Right now, they're extended through the end of January. I would anticipate that being extended further. So it's something to be aware of, that if you have student loans right now, it's likely that you're going to have that payments continue to be paused for the foreseeable future. But if you're able to make those payments and you want to go forward and do that, by all means, go ahead and do so. You may want to take a time to look and see what happens as it relates to that $10,000 cancellation, because that affects your overall bottom line. The topic of taxes is going to be significant for Joe Biden during the first 2 years of his presidency. That is because he has proposed raising taxes on some of the highest earners in the United States of America. Back when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed, it reduced that down to 37%. Mr. Biden is now proposing putting that up to 39.6%, as well as limiting deductions as well as payroll taxes for that same income group. On the flip side, he's proposing to cut certain taxes as well. He has said that he wants to initiate a child tax credit, as well as tax credits for first-time home buyers as well as for renters. Another area we should anticipate a change would be related to state or local tax deductions. Right now it's capped at $10,000, and what we should anticipate is that being raised specifically for married filers who file jointly. So this is something that we should anticipate. It will help a lot of individuals who live in maybe higher tax states such as California and New York. So it's something to be aware of, but we should anticipate that being changed as we move forward. If Congress decides to repeal the state and local tax cap, what we should anticipate is they will also reinstate the alternative minimum tax. Once again, this will impact a lot of individuals, something for us to be aware of, especially as we move forward into paying our taxes. President-elect Biden would also make some changes when it comes to capital gains taxes, specifically for individuals who die. Right now, under existing law, capital gains are not taxed when it comes to someone who's passed away, but what we would see is potentially putting forward this kind of tax after an individual has passed away. So it's something to be aware of as you're reaching the age of retirement, as you reach later stages of life. This could be a change for how much money you'd be able to pass on to your heirs. An encouraging development would be a proposal that's put forward by Massachusetts Representative Richard Neal, who's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is one of the most powerful committees in the House of Representatives. He's put forward a proposal that would actually automatically enroll employees into 401k retirement plans. And this would provide employers the ability to automatically enroll all of their employees into their retirement accounts, where they would then have the option, the employees would, of being able to opt out if they chose to do so. To me, this is a very encouraging development, and I hope this actually becomes law, because so many individuals do not save enough money for retirement because most of us put it off over time, and generally then we don't benefit from all of the benefits that come with compound interest and the gains in the stock market. So if we automatically have people automatically saving for their retirement, it's going to save so much more money for individuals and help people propel themselves forward in the future and provide a bit more of a legacy for their family and stability for their family. Now, one of the benefits of this is that employees have the ability to opt out of the plan, therefore that enables them to have the freedom to do what they want with their own finances. But by automatically enrolling them, it encourages them to take that consideration, because very often people either forget to do so, they don't understand what a retirement account actually is, and they really think they need to start saving for retirement when they're closer to the age of retirement, instead of realizing that you're supposed to be doing that many years before, many decades before. So that's a really cool development. I would anticipate this becoming law, where we would see individuals automatically enrolled into retirement accounts. On the topic of retirement accounts, President-elect Biden has put forward actually a 26% refundable tax credit that he would actually enact for individuals in their retirement accounts. This is unlikely to gain any traction in Congress because they're tight margins that the Democrats currently have in the House and the Senate, but it's something we should anticipate hearing more about as time progresses. And this would be basically the equivalent of a government matching contribution to your retirement account. So it would once again encourage people to save for their retirement, and the government would actually basically be, in essence, contributing as well well to your retirement account by providing you with that tax break. At the beginning of the pandemic, the Paycheck Protection Program was put into place by Congress, and this provided forgivable loans for businesses to be able to keep their employees on the books and keep people on their books so that way they could actually continue to pay their bills, such as their rent, their groceries, and stay whole, and hopefully come back to work once the time comes. Now what we're gonna see is on January 11th, this is gonna reopen again, the Paycheck Protection Program, where businesses can go and apply and receive additional funding. But what President-elect Biden has actually proposed is a $30 billion fund called the Small Business Opportunity Fund. This would have even greater access to funds for individuals who need it and businesses who need it specifically, and we should anticipate something like this coming to fruition in the not too distant future because businesses have been hammered by this pandemic, having to close, deal with ongoing existing and ever-evolving regulations, and trying to figure out ways they can keep their employees safe, their customers safe, and obviously meet their bottom line where they're not having to close their businesses permanently. One of the differences of the Small Business Opportunity Fund is they are not going to cap it and cause a big rush of individuals and businesses to go there to try and get the funds before it dries up. That was one of the problems with the Paycheck Protection Program, where you had some of these large corporations being able to come in and get money when they didn't necessarily need it, when really the small mom and pop shops weren't able to access the funds that they desperately needed just to be able to keep their doors open. So what we would anticipate is that with the Small Business Opportunity Fund, they're going to guarantee that any company that is eligible and able to receive the funds will be able to receive it over time. So it's something we should anticipate being a bit more of a long drawn out approach towards addressing the issues of the pandemic instead of just trying to do one quick thing. So what we will see is this might be rolled out a little bit more systematically, and understanding the Paycheck Protection Program obviously was put in place at the height of the pandemic when people really were concerned and there was a lot that the government had to do. So I'm not criticizing that at all, just saying there probably is going to be a different approach here with the Small Business Opportunity Fund. As you can see, there are going to be some significant changes that affect your personal financial situation when it comes to this new change in Congress, but I believe there are some fundamentals that all of us should maintain irrespective of what political party is in leadership or what person is the president of the United States. And that would be this: do everything you can to cut spending, save money where you can, avoid lifestyle inflation, avoid debt, and do what you can to invest into the stock market through strategic approaches such as index funds into those areas that you understand. And if you're able to maintain that type of philosophy and that type of daily approach, we're going ahead, you're cutting back in areas where you don't need to spend money, you're trying to do everything you can to save by maybe saving money on certain bills, you're doing what you need to try and avoid trying to keep up with other people in society by either buying the newest car, having the newest home, having the newest technological devices, and trying to keep up with everyone else when they're actually swimming in debt. And on that note, try to avoid debt yourself. Debt can be such a crippling and really debilitating component of our lives that limits our potential to actually not only make more money in the future, but live more mindfully in the present. So if you're able to get over the hump and deal with that consumer debt or that large loan that you took out that you shouldn't have, if you can avoid those things and try and deal with them moving forward, that will help you substantially. And then if you can begin investing into your future by putting money through a tax advantage account such as a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, or if you want to go into a 401K account, as long as you're using some tax advantage account to then go invest into the stock market, that should really benefit you. I like to invest into index funds because they are safe, stable, and generally track the overall stock market performance. So if the entire stock market is up, the portfolio goes up. Now you can try and hit higher, more volatile stocks if you want to try something like a Tesla, or if you want to go into cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or things like that. There's obviously other avenues for you to invest your money. I'm not telling you not to do so, just always be mindful that where there is more risk, there is more reward, but that risk can be significant. So only invest what you feel comfortable potentially losing when it comes to going into more individual stocks and even potentially into cryptocurrency. So those are just some things that you want to think about irrespective of who's in power. But what you can do right now is be mindful of the fact that we are going to see some of these changes moving forward, and we can position ourselves now that we know about that to be more strategically advantaged in the future. So I'm hoping that is helpful for you as you begin to paint a picture for yourself as to what can be most effective for your personal finances. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please like the video. That would really help the channel out for the YouTube algorithm, help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, answer any questions for you, and do any research on your behalf to help you make more well-informed decisions. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to myself personally, as I do everything I can to create content that makes a positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balance and moderation. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please tap the notification bell and it will notify you every time I post a video, which I do on a weekly basis. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Talk to you next time. Bye.